Michael wants that basketball back again.
Pippen flips it to him. Turnaround fadeaway. Got it. 33.
That's amazing. What this man can do under pressure.
Well, he's so smart. He knew he had Hornacek, so he went into the post. When he had Russell out on him, he dribbled it and took it to the lane. He knows how to use his body and his mind.
Stockton. A 2-point game as we move under 2 minutes. Hornacek against Michael. Misses the runner, and now Chicago.
I don't think that's the shot they wanted. Hornacek playing one-on-one against Michael at the end of the clock.
A chance to tie it, or perhaps take the lead with a 3. Five on the shot clock. It's going to be Michael. 2 seconds to shoot. He's not going to get it off. 24-second violation.
Now you watch Michael working hard in the post. He's trying to draw the foul, and it doesn't come. Shot clock runs out. He said, oh, I just lost track of time right there. And you go back to the previous possession where he's driving the lane. Now, Michael Jordan normally gets that call against Karl Malone. Malone came down and hacked him on the wrist, but he didn't get the foul. So he asked for it again in the low post against Hornacek. He spins baseline, shoots the fadeaway J, which is so difficult to guard.
Tongue wagging to indicate that he's got it going on, but this last time, a rarity for him. He apparently lost track of just how much time was on the shot clock. He didn't have a good shot, but once it's down to a couple of seconds, you've got to force it, which he would have done if he realized that there were that few ticks remaining.
You know what I think happened on that play is Michael thought he had Brian Russell all alone, and as he was working him, at the last moment, Ostertag came over and got in his way in a double team, so Michael was going to try to step through, and once he did, the clock went off. So Ostertag really forced that violation with the double team. Now watch Ostertag come over. Look, Michael thinks he's got a one-on-one here. Right here is Ostertag, and at the last moment, he's going to come over as Michael lets everything clear. Michael's going to work his time here. Now here comes Ostertag. Now Michael says, I have no place to go, and at that point in time, it's too late.
Steve Kerr, seated alongside Michael, has played the entire fourth quarter and the overtime rather than Ron Harper.
That's because of his shooting. Because if they're going to double team in the post, you're going to stay with Steve Kerr. If he stands out 25 feet from the basket, they know he's hit big shots. Remember Game 6 last year, out of the double team, he hit the game winner. Michael Jordan, you can see operating in that lane, but also that mid-post area. He's been so deadly tonight. That little 16, 17-footer. Question you have here, Isaiah, can the Jazz score? Can they get a basket here? Because they need one with only a 2-point lead. They've got to score some points here.
This is a huge possession for the Utah Jazz, and it would come down to execution.
Stockton into the front court, guarded by Kerr. Malone has it bounce off his leg, loose ball. Bennett Salvatore blows a whistle, and there's a Chicago foul.
I think they're going to call Michael Jordan out of bounds here. Watch Michael read this. They're trying to step Malone out. He jumps into the passing lane, and then Michael dives for the loose ball. They're going to say his hand was out of bounds.
You're right, no foul. But just as importantly, the ball to Utah.
Shot clock.
7 seconds. Stockton's pass broken up and stolen by Rodman. Another key defensive play by Dennis. Michael. Hornacek has him. Michael for the tie, but a whistle. The basket will not count.
Michael did not want that foul right there. He wanted the basket. He did not want the foul. But here's the steal. You watch Stockton come off the screen and roll, and Steve Kerr comes back and he gets a hand in the passing lane. Jordan coming down, wants the isolation in the post, the fade, Didn't want the foul on the floor, but the referee gave it to him anyway.
Foul is Hornacek's second. Kukoc comes in. He'll inbound it. So they have the extra shooter in Kukoc. Longley. Ostertag up on him. Puts it on the floor, tries to go to the hoop, lost it. And Russell dives to the floor to pick it up, and he gets the timeout.
Bob, I'm shocked. They went to a one-on-one play for Longley against Ostertag. And Luke, if he's going to have to dribble the ball twice, he's going to be in trouble. They knocked it loose.
Chicago has had so many opportunities to win this game. You see Longley will get the ball in the post, and he's looking for somebody to pass it to. No one will come, so he'll put it on the floor to try to go around Ostertag to try to create something. Morris gets a hand on the ball, and at this point in time in the playoffs, you dive on the floor, you get the ball, you get possession, and you call a timeout.
It looks like Brian Russell gets a little bit of hand in here. Watch him as he goes by. Right there, he knocks the ball loose. Now it's important because there's a 4.4 differential on the shot clock. We see Brian Russell call timeout, so he makes the play that the Bulls made earlier in this overtime period.
I thought Karl Malone kicked that basketball, and that should have been a violation.
Well, Bob, there's a 4.4 differential right now. So if you're Chicago, do you feel like that you have enough time that you can let them use the clock, get a shot up, rebound it, still have enough time to get a timeout and move the basketball? That's a major question for Phil Jackson. He's got to decide what he wants to do here.
Chicago has a foul to give. If Utah should commit a foul of any sort, the Bulls will be shooting the rest of the way. Let's see if we can get a look at what you were talking about, so you can see if Malone does kick this ball.
You see in the scramble for the ball, watch as it's rolling out of bounds. You'll see Malone go for it, and watch he kicks that basketball.
I think that's inadvertent, though. They wouldn't call that. You have to stick your foot out and make an effort to do that. They would not call that. That was an inadvertent kick. That's a good no call.
The Jazz still with 2 timeouts. Chicago down to 1.
Now the Jazz will take this length of the floor to give them more room to get the ball in, because against Chicago, it's very difficult to get it in. Question again, does Phil Jackson take a foul, or do they play this out to the finish, hope they can stop him, get a rebound?
I think you play it out.
Malone throws it into Stockton. Into the front court with Kerr guarding him. Chicago doesn't have to foul because of the overlap. It's Stockton on the run, and it's Utah by 4. Chicago uses its last timeout with 9.3 seconds remaining in overtime.
You know what? That was good defense. The Bulls did a good job here. Steve Kerr fought over the top of that Isaiah. And you know what it was? It was better offense by a Hall of Fame player. Look at the shot that Stockton has to take. Kerr's got a hand in his face. He's on the move. That was just great offense by John Stockton. You can see they're going to stay with the screener. They're not going to trap it. And Stockton just makes a wonderful play when they most needed it.
See, I have to ask myself this question. Why is Steve Kerr in the game right now guarding John Stockton when you have a better defender and Brown or Harper on the bench?
Look at Jerry Sloan, the former Chicago Bull great. Now in his 10th year as the coach of the Jazz, the longest tenure of any present NBA coach. His reaction as Stockton gives them just a bit of breathing room.
Let's see what happens. They're going to come over and run the screen roll. And they don't want to jump out and let Malone roll, so they stay with him. And Kerr does a good job fighting over. Now Michael doesn't want to leave Hornacek, who's the shooter. Kerr gets back, gets a hand up, and just makes an unbelievably tough shot. That's what we talk about, Stockton and Malone, 13 seasons, Bob. And then it's Stockton once again with the running shot in the lane.
At this stage of his career, at age 36, in his 14th NBA season, Stockton does not put up the kind of numbers night in, night out that he did during that great decade-long stretch where he led the league in assists, and it was a league that included Magic Johnson for a large portion of that time, led it in assists 9 straight times, and was also averaging like 16 points a game. But when his team has needed it, especially tonight, with his running mate Karl Malone having a subpar night, what has he done? 22 points, 8 assists. Kukoc looking to get it in. Jordan back to Kukoc. They need a 3, and Kukoc delivers it with 5.4 seconds, bringing them to within 1 and allowing them to foul. They immediately grab Russell. Jordan does it. Shakes his hand to indicate it was unintentional, rather strategic.
See, Karl Malone made a mistake there on that out-of-bounds play. He was guarding Tony Kukoc. The most dangerous man on that kind of play is the guy throwing the ball in bounds. Karl Malone lost vision where he was at, and Kukoc just stepped right in. Now, they had a foul to give.
It was, of course, intentional. I meant to say that the contact, the roughness of it was unintentional.
Now you got Burrell coming in now for Steve Kerr, who has more speed, so they can possibly try to get a quick foul or either go for the steal.
I'm surprised Hornacek is not in the game right now because he's one of their best free throw shooters.
4.8. Malone into Stockton. And he dribbles a bit of time off the clock before they can catch him and foul him with 3 seconds left, and not the guy that you want to send to the line if you're Chicago.
You keep putting the pressure on, though. You extend the game. When you make that 3, now what you do is you got to make Stockton make 2. If he makes 1, a 2 ties, or a 3 beats you. If he makes them both, the 3 can send the game into overtime. So still a lot of game left to be played here, Bob.
They put half a second back on the clock. But remember, Chicago has used its last timeout.
See, they can't move the basketball. That means they got to throw something long. That's why if they can get both of these, it's very difficult to catch and kick out for a 3.
Stockton with 5 points in overtime. It rattles around and drops.
Now what they'll do is they'll put Michael Jordan at the other end of the floor, and they'll throw a home run play to him. He'll come to the sideline, catch it, and in one motion try to catch and shoot the 3. Brian Russell's got to keep it out of his hands here.
3-point lead. Kukoc down to Michael with Russell on him. He tips it to Pippen. Can he beat the horn? He can, but he misses it. And game 1 goes to Utah in overtime. A game they had to sweat to win with their best player having a subpar night.